Hello, my name is Derek Kenny, Secrets to Success, City of Gold. Since my introduction to Dubai and the extremely positive experience I've had here, I thought, why not set it up in Dubai, the City of Gold? We're interviewing Dave Chagar here. I would say since the day I met Dave, he has completely went out of his way to help. He's introduced me to so many people. I'm just the podcast host, okay? I'm the nobody. You are the star of the show, all right? So, and by the way, everybody, Dave got a lovely Irish soup made just for me.
Thank you very much, Derek. It's a pleasure to have you as a member of the club. And I can also say it's been quite a journey learning from you, learning from your business experiences as well. So it's a pleasure to be on your podcast.
So what I'd like to do is we create a bit of a story for everybody. How you started out, how your childhood kind of molded who you are today.
So I was born in the UK, East African Indian origins in Leicestershire. Studied there, went to school there, and then went to St Andrews University. So economics by trade. Then after university, straight into the family business. And I think everything really started from the entrepreneurial nature of my family. We were in automotive manufacturing from a very young age. And every weekend, every other weekend, I was always there in the factory, watching all the team work together. And then my father and his brothers actually coordinating all of the high-level business activities. So that was the initial starting point.
And now I understand the person you've become, even though you had such a prestigious education. You're humble because you're working in the factory. You're able to come across with the humbleness, and then also you have that very strong educational background, the economics and so on and so forth.
I realized a lot of the skills that you learn at university are not really applicable to business, because there's a lot more in terms of people skills, understanding the different dynamics, and then how to kind of deviate all the different parameters to kind of achieve the objective.
The fact that you can mix it just that absolute, I would say I could stick you in Buckingham Palace and you could mix the Queen of England. And I could put you at home in the Jobstown Inn in Tallaght in Dublin, my local. It's fairly well-known bar, and I reckon you'd get along well with everybody there too. Yeah. So how did you develop that skill? Because that's not a skill that's easy to develop, by the way. It's very hard to train children how to be that way. Right? So how did your family raise you so you didn't end up a spoiled brat, basically?
So I guess a large part of it was also down to sports from a young age. I remember when I was 7, 8 years old, going to the local squash club with my father. And for him, I understood later as to why he's so keen to play sports. Because it's a very good release in terms of clearing your mind, refocusing your thoughts. So from a young age, it was already very competitive. And the squash court, it's very much a single sport in a way. So you learn to become that much more focused and calculated in terms of how you channel your aggression and motivation. So I think that made a big difference. And then in the later years, then at school, playing rugby as well. So I think sports give you a very good foundation.
Yeah, I believe that too. Sport, again, builds the teamwork, resilience. When you feel you can't go anymore. I did kickboxing, full contact kickboxing, and the trainer used to say, hard in the gym, easy in the ring, Derek.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at life and business, like sometimes you go through really tough times in life, right? And life can hit you hard sometimes, you know? You go through ups and downs, man. It's not easy.
Oh, exactly. I think if you're on a treadmill,
yeah,
there is not really that motivation to up it in terms of speed. But when you've got that ball in front of you, you'll do everything physically possible to try and get there. Right. So it kind of does push you a lot. And I think in terms of the family upbringing as well, quite traditional Asian family or Indian family. And I think it was very important for us to follow the letter of the law, so to speak. So my father was a very big influence. He was always traveling a lot. And then my mother was also actively involved in making sure we're doing our homework on time and, not being too mischievous. And then, in fact, at university, when I was studying, it was the same year as Prince William and Kate Middleton. So that was interesting because we had a lot of high-profile people there. And in fact, I originally wanted to study in London, but my father said it'd be much better, especially with the golfing community, to go to a university like St Andrews. So he was already thinking in terms of networking, future potential. And without any questions, I agreed to his decision without even visiting St Andrews. And it was really the best 4 years of my life.
That's where I would see the benefit in the likes of St. Andrews. Again, I tell my wife it was a school I want my child to go to. Not for the education, actually, for the people he'll meet. I'm not thinking about the education. I do know how powerful when you sit down with somebody and you have something in common with them, like I went to St. Andrews or I went here, I went there. There's that kind of common bond, right?
Yeah, it builds rapport in many ways because it breaks the ice. I think people are all different in terms of some are more open, comfortable in any situation. Others need to feel that there's a common bond, then open up more and more. So it's nice to have different touch points where you've got common understanding. And I think St. Andrews, because it's such an international university, I didn't really see as to what it gave me in terms of benefit until much later on. But it's very much an expat university. A lot of people from the UK go to study there, from Canada, different parts of the world. Yeah. So I felt like it gave far more than just the education.
So Dave is known as the connector because he connects people together. And it obviously comes from his background, going to St. Andrews, realizing the value of networking and so on and so forth. Tell me about the journey from finishing university. What did you want to do?
So I think it was already kind of decided from a young age that at the time of graduation that we go straight into the family business. And I was quite comfortable with that choice. And it's about the legacy. It's about keeping it within the family. One thing which I remember vividly is in those younger years, when you see your father, who's an entrepreneur running his own business never stops. So he was always thinking what he wants to achieve, how he's going to make it happen, and investing in relationships. I think that's the most important thing. So always he was very much focused on how he's going to secure more contracts, who he needs to align with in order to make the business happen. So a lot you get as a child from mimicking what your parents do. And I thought that was very useful growing up. So after graduating, then went straight into the family business. Then we set up a separate division, which was effectively my baby in terms of the aftermarket side. So it was nice to have my own kind of project in a way, and then to see that those efforts, those responsibilities were then all on my own head, but then the success was also there as well.
How did you end up here?
So I was in the UK for a considerable amount of time, in between there and Australia. Then on my father-in-law's side, he then acquired a power plant in Tanzania. So he wanted me to get actively involved in the business. And this meant that I was initially traveling from the UK to Dubai and then across to Tanzania every month. So that was my initial exposure to Dubai, where every month I was coming through the city. And then I started to feel more and more comfortable and impressed by the speed at which things actually happen.
So how long ago was this?
So that was probably about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Every time I was spending 5-6 days in Tanzania and then a couple of days either side here in Dubai. But already at that point, we were transacting a lot through Dubai in terms of import-export. And then I just found that there was so much opportunity here. You know, it's very much an active business environment. And the more you kind of align yourself correctly, you can find the right people. Generally speaking, it's very straightforward. And I just thought it made logical sense to then move the family to Dubai.
Very interesting, 10 years ago. Because I feel Dubai changed dramatically over the past 5 years, say. I was here during COVID, right? And then came here post-COVID, and it's a different city again. The government here just seems to just constantly look at ways of improving. They seem to actually want to do things to make people have a better life.
You know, 100%. I think, you know, it's very different to any other city that I've lived in the past. So compared to London, Brisbane, Dubai is just constantly evolving, like you say. It's just so flexible and it adapts very, very quickly. When there's times of pain, such as during COVID, the way Dubai handled the whole situation is just remarkable. So many people from different parts of the world are all making Dubai home because of the flexibility, because they can see opportunity here.
It astounds me with the policies they keep putting in place to make it better for people to live. We're looking at property here at the moment, you know what I mean? And somebody said to me, Derek, that property is like middle of nowhere. I said, in 10 years' time, see all that sand, that'll be all full. They're doubling or trebling the size of the airport. If you look at the roads, they're obviously building them for 50 years from now. they ain't thinking 5 years from now, 10 years from now. They're thinking completely long term. You know what I mean?
Not completely. I think so many people now, after COVID, they reflect on the situation in a very different manner. It's about quality of life. And when they're perhaps residing in Europe or Singapore or Hong Kong, when you're paying taxes to the government, then it becomes a case of, am I really getting the value back? Whereas I find Dubai is completely different. The way it's structured is thinking for the better of the whole community, which is not just the local Emirati community, but also expats as a whole. So I find it's just a very welcoming environment, and people see it as a breath of fresh air. They can see there's a lot of opportunity happening in the Middle East. And Dubai is a great place in terms of bringing up families, lifestyle, and then also in terms of the business environment.
But one thing that strikes me about Dubai is I don't see racism here. I've actually seen a lot of signs when I've been driving down the road of like, we welcome everybody to Dubai. Everybody's part of the Dubai family. You know, it doesn't matter what religion you are, what color you are. You know, I get in the Careem, which is the equivalent to Uber here. No matter which country you go in the world, you can always rely on taxi drivers to tell you the truth about everything, right? And I've yet to meet a driver in Dubai who doesn't say positive things about Dubai.
100%. The expats who move it, I think we're very, very lucky, fortunate to be based here because of the amount of privileges that we get. It really is a different level in terms of the thinking, the way they execute plans as well. And I think people understand that every decision that's made is for the better.
I'm predominantly based in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I often have Chinese companies asking me, you know, Derek, we'd love to look at Dubai, use it as a base for Saudi. What is it that makes the city great for a company to enter here and do business?
I think it's such a flexible regime. So whether it be that it's construction companies or private equity, there are always, you know, the right boxes within Dubai, effectively. It's such a welcoming city and there is so much opportunity here as well. So one of the key aspects that now Dubai is continuing to innovate is on the manufacturing side as well. So no longer to be considered as a trading hub or banking system, bringing manufacturing into play to have extra kind of verticals.
Well, I see Saudi Arabia is reforming a lot now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually very impressed with what they're doing over there too. And I look at the region, the Middle East, apparently there's 3.5 trillion US dollars in dry powder to invest. There's no other region in the world that has that. You know,
100%.
A big fan of Ray Dalio, right? And he says, when you're making investment decisions or business decisions, you want to avoid any area where there's a potential for war, right? When I look around the world right now, the Middle East is the least place there's going to be a war. It's been through it all. You know, it's going to be the safest place for growth with all this cash being injected. I personally think the Middle East is going to be the highest growth area in the world to do business. Now, what mistakes do you see companies coming in to do business in Dubai? What's the pitfalls on a more professional basis you would tell people to avoid?
I think it's similar to any part of the world when you're setting up a new business or new holding structures, for argument's sake, is just to do your due diligence. You cannot overplan. It's always best to have the what-if scenarios in place and mitigate against them. So I think that's the most important thing. So Dubai is quite different to some of the other cities across the world, but it's important to just get a good, firm grip as to all the different aspects you need to plan for in advance.
So you're a man with a family in Dubai, right? What are the key traits you see in people coming to this city who actually make it?
So I think being an expat, I find everybody's effectively in the same boat. And I feel the more you put in, the more you get out. So I find people are a lot more flexible, a lot more welcoming, open to have conversations. And that reflects in the business environment as well. So you really have to kind of be open-minded, and you never know who you're going to meet in any given situation. So even for argument's sake, with my children's school, that's effectively how I knew of Capital Club in the very first stage 9 years ago. So again, you never know who you're going to meet and what the purpose may be. Sometimes when you look back and you reflect, it is really mind-blowing.
Funnily enough, actually, my first day sitting here in the Capital Club, a guy sat down beside me and I thought he was a French footballer. Turns out he was the singer Akon. Yeah, he's sitting down there with his buddies, and that's insane. Like, nobody bothers him. You know, the club obviously has some very famous people who are members of it too. But just let me backtrack a little bit here to lifestyle here. Yeah, I want people to get it right. What makes Dubai a great place to live?
I think the safety, you cannot put a price on safety.
Yeah.
So it's very comforting to know that if your wife is walking around, she'll never have any issues. Also for children, it really is such a safe environment. And that allows for you to focus on achieving your objectives and goals. So it gives you a lot of peace of mind. And I think in terms of hospitality and service, Dubai has really pushed the expectations to a different level. We set such a high benchmark here that people become very accustomed to the quality and expectations.
Because obviously people are happy here, you know. The only complaint I ever hear is people say it gets really hot in the summer. And I say, well, if that's the only complaint you have, you're living in a great place. Because, you know,
yeah, I mean, it does get quite hot in the summer. But I think for families, there's just so much to do. If you want to break away, you can go to Ras Al Khaimah or Abu Dhabi. There's so many different places, theme parks, cinemas. It really has the best of the best. Children can be very well educated, a lot of British schools, international curriculums. So it gives you the perfect environment in many ways. You can have that balance in terms of work, life, focus time, and then also to actually enjoy the country as a whole.
If you want to have the family lifestyle, you can have the family lifestyle and you can live out in a nice villa if that's what you want. If you want to be a young expat and you want to be going out every night in the beach bars or whatever, stuff like that, you can live that life too, you know?
So it is just very, very vibrant. Such a remarkable city. I'll never forget one day I was actually in Nobu with my wife and children. We're having lunch. And then suddenly the whole mood just changed. And then we looked up and we noticed His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid. He entered the building and we were a little bit nervous. Wow, he's actually so close to us.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, in fact, he actually is so welcoming, so friendly. And he waved to my son. And I just thought, this is a priceless moment I'll never forget.
Well, I was going to say that he's obviously a visionary. The vision of Dubai, they've stuck to it through thick and thin. Ambition, bigger, better, improve people's lives, you know?
Very inspirational.
Yeah.
And I think it really does come from top down. Even a lot of the ministries, they're so much forward thinking. They're planning not for today, tomorrow, but decades ahead. And I think this is beautiful to see how the city keeps on developing the environment. They're very much focused in terms of future growth, future potential to effectively become a major epicenter across the world.
Yeah, I just saw that new building that's being announced. The floor rotates 360 degrees, you know?
They make the impossible possible.
Is it anything impossible possible, you know? And in CGP Group, actually, one of our main objectives is to help Chinese companies come here. I had a meeting with some officials from the Chinese government just a few months ago, you know? I was talking so highly of Dubai, and then he said to me, well, can I join on a trip over there? You can bring me around different company. And do you see an influx of Chinese businesses in particular? Do you notice anything?
I think it's definitely started.
Yeah.
We've started to see more of the Far Eastern community who have moved across to Dubai. And I think it will only continue to grow and grow, as we're seeing from all different parts of the world. So a lot of people are still moving from Germany, from the UK, different parts of Europe, even the US, because of the level of flexibility. I think the key in Dubai is if you have a vision and you also have the work ethic to actually implement, then the sky's the limit. I mean, we've got so many incredible success stories, and even we see within the clubs, even like the Thumbe group, how they started from very humble beginnings to now build such a big conglomerate. And also with Danube, with Adel and Rizwan Sarjan, how they've managed to achieve their objectives. And it's all for the benefit of the people as well. It's something where it really does give you hope. The more you invest in yourself and put yourself in the right circles, then it can really reap considerable rewards.
The one thing I've observed in Dubai is that I observed, okay, if you carry the Hong Kong work ethic to Dubai with you, you'll do really well, right?
Yeah.
However, Dubai is just so nice. Yeah, it's so nice and it's so beautiful and it's just such a great city, right, to live. Do you notice that some people come here and maybe they take the foot off the gas?
I guess there could be cases, but I think with such a level of beauty and opulence like you see in Dubai, I'm speaking from my own experience, that pushes you even harder because you want to go to the best hotels, you want to eat in the best restaurants. It gives you that push and determination and drive every day to not take your foot off the gas. And I think it's also very important to surround yourself around like-minded people.
Yeah, that's very, very important, Joe. You're very good at that, Dave. And you've connected me with a lot of people. I was with Dave yesterday evening and I just explained to him. I said, hey, Dave, have you ever heard of this company? They've been my biggest client for many, many years. And he's like, oh, I know the CEO for the Middle East. And he just rings the CEO and puts him on the phone to me. And I go, oh, hey. I'm like, oh, I know such and such. And he's like, oh, yeah, great. He's like, oh, Derek, look, I'm going to drop you a message. We'll catch up for a coffee soon, you know. Some people who are natural networkers like you, I've not met many, by the way, they're just kind of natural connectors. Like, do you really enjoy it? Is that why you do it?
Every day is challenging in different ways, but it's like a constant learning curve. I'm always learning from each and every member about different industries, whatever their challenges are. And then it's always nice to see an acceleration of their growth, how their businesses evolve. And it's nice to be part of that process in a way, because we have so many formidable members within the club. And it's nice to bring people together.
And have you seen many people arrive here with basically nothing, just, you know, start from scratch and have a meteoric rise?
Yeah, I think there are many, many cases. Every day in Dubai, there are opportunities at hand. It's definitely a city where you're finding a lot of people immediately after graduation choosing Dubai right now because they can see it's very good in terms of their career path, investing time to actually make things happen. Whereas they probably see roadblocks in other parts of the world, they can see that Dubai is constantly evolving, constantly moving, and there's so much opportunity.
My friends, I'm telling them, look, you need to get yourself out to the Middle East, you know. One of them is heavy in ESG, right? And I found out Abu Dhabi is actually 3D printing coral reefs. I know the actual company they're using to do it. And then they're going to be populating it with Norwegian salmon. So from an ESG point of view, leading the pack. On the business point of view, they seem to be leading the pack, you know. What would be the key differentiators between Dubai and Abu Dhabi, for example? Remember, we're speaking to people here who have no idea, right? So
I think Dubai and Abu Dhabi, they complement each other very well. The dynamics are different city to city, and then also with the other Emirates. So visiting Ajman is completely different. Sharjah, each Emirate is developing in their own unique way in many respects.
This is an interesting topic, actually. This is what a lot of people don't realize. The UAE is not just Dubai and Abu Dhabi. You have Sharjah, Ras Al Khaimah,
Ajman,
anywhere else? Fujairah. A lot of people never heard of these places, right? For example, Wynn Hotel Group, which is one of the biggest in the world, they're just starting a massive project down in Ras Al Khaimah at the moment.
I think Ras Al Khaimah is really going to develop in many, many different ways. In terms of real estate opportunities as well, I think it will continue to keep on evolving and develop. So it's nice to have these different environments. And also, in terms of travel, it's completely different when you visit Fujairah compared to Ras Al Khaimah or Abu Dhabi. Each's got their own unique flavor in many ways. And there's also different free zone authorities in some of these other Emirates, and each have their own benefits as well. So it's important for somebody coming in to do their research as to which Emirate they think would be the right fit for their specific business. Another key thing I find with Dubai is there's such a major focus on respect and tolerance together. So everybody, like my children, they study Arabic at school. And it's incredible. To be able to learn Arabic is a great skill to have, especially with the way the Middle East is evolving.
Yeah, it's amazing, really. And then I see the relationship between China and the Middle East. They're putting a big interest in the Middle East in particular. There's been a peace deal brokered between Iran and Saudi. You know, it just seems to me like that this is the place to be if you want to do business. You know? Everything's just coming together at the right time, you know what I mean?
You know, if I was to describe in one word, the environment, the culture here is just electric. We've been here for 9 years now. I've never seen the business environment the way it is. Everybody feels a buzz in the air. It's just nice to be living in a city like that.
It reminds me when I first arrived in Hong Kong, actually, because you had lots of people from all over the world wanting to do business together. But one thing that really strikes me about Dubai is that there's no locals versus expats.
This is it, because everybody sees Dubai as home.
Yeah.
when they've moved from, like, I'm originally from the UK, but I consider Dubai to be home because we just love the culture, we love the environment, we love the fact that people actually celebrate success.
Yeah.
You know, in other parts of the world, the more successful you are, then often leads to jealousy or envy. I think people here, if they see a Rolls Royce, they see a Ferrari, they see that as a little bit of extra ambition to push that extra mile.
There's a gentleman called Michael O'Leary. He's the CEO of a very famous airline in Europe, or Ryanair, you know. I was reading a book about him many years ago, and they gave a very good analogy. They said an American sees a big house and they think, my God, one day I'm going to be just like that guy. An Irish guy sees that house, oh, one day I'm going to get that. Never. So in Dubai, yeah, I get the feeling like people actually congratulate you.
100%, because I think everybody here, especially as an expat, you understand luck is also very important, but hard work is critical.
Tell me about the Capital Club here, because I believe that the best thing that happened to me when I arrived in Dubai was I came down here to meet Tim Haywood for coffee.
Yes.
And I met you, right? And I just felt home then in Dubai. This place has been like my second home. Your team here, it really is an unbelievable place. I don't know how the Capital Club has managed to develop this, because I run companies, right? And that must be very hard to do.
I think a lot of it has come from the leadership, from our chairman, Hussein Sultan Al Junaidi. He's really a visionary in terms of the success, the way he's pushed boundaries for the evolution of Dubai is it's incredible. I feel that there's just so much bonding in all of our team here within the club and the members. And then it's nice that we have a combination of the business events, the social events, informally network, meet other members. It just becomes like an extension of your family in many ways.
I would certainly recommend joining the Capital Club, even if you don't live here. Like, I'm not here full time. Straight away that day, do you remember? I was like, hey, I want to become a member.
Yeah.
Just immediately, right? And then I didn't come back for a year because I got sick. And then when I came back a year later, the team members downstairs, oh, Mr. Kenny, how are you? How's it going? We've missed you. You know, it was so nice and so welcoming.
It's such a unique environment. It really is a place of privacy, which is very important in a place like Dubai, to know that you can have your confidential discussions and that it's just kept within those confines. And I think, again, Dubai being such a forward-thinking, adaptable city, business is critical, and we're very much a business-driven club. So a lot of our members, they're top C-suite and above. We have a lot of the ambassadors, consul generals, owners of major conglomerates. So it's just a comfortable setting where they can conduct their day-to-day business and then combined with social as well. It's nice when things come together in terms of certain members being in the club at the same time, and it just takes a simple introduction for them to start talking in terms of opportunities.
Great. And before we finish off, you've done very well for yourself since coming to Dubai, right? What advice would you give people in general? Because we call it the secrets to success, right? What do you think are the secrets to success in the city of gold?
I think it's very important to be persistent. If you have your ambition, it's very important to not let that 1 or 2 days drag you away from reaching that goal. It's just every day, take it as a fresh opportunity and just try and make every hour count. It's very important to have a plan, have a vision, but then execution is so important. And that only comes with investing in yourself, surrounding yourself with the right types of people, whether it be within golf courses or villa communities or, for argument's sake, Capital Club. And then things will organically come somehow or the other, as long as you maintain that persistence.
Well, you know, I'm a very big believer in if you have a treadmill right in front of your eyes, you'll probably run. If you have weights right in front of your eyes, you'll probably do weights. You hang out with good people, you'll do good things. Everything rubs off on people. If everywhere you look there's bars, you'll probably have a drink, you know. But my grandmother used to say to me as a child, show me your company and I'll tell you your kind. So show me who you hang out with and I'll tell you who you are. I've made many mistakes in life. I've ups and I've had downs. I'm sure for yourself as well. And any times I've had the downs, I've noticed that maybe I let the wrong people into my circle. So I think it's very, very important what you said there, and you hit the nail on the head. You want to surround yourself with the right people, you know?
Oh, exactly. I think it's so important because, again, it's very easy to get sidetracked. But at the same time, if you surround yourself with the right type of people, they've got similar values, They're very aspirational. If ever you're in that moment where you're a little bit jaded, then everybody can kind of help support one another. It's very important.
Yeah, it's good. And I think that summarizes the Capital Club. So if you ever feeling a bit down, get yourself down to the Capital Club and go up and see Dave. So thank you so much for sharing. I wanted people to understand around the world, what is Dubai really like? Why is the Capital Club great? And I think this show gives everyone a very great insight into Dubai as a whole. Please connect with Dave on LinkedIn. I will put it in the link on the podcast, and then I don't know if you have that connector website or not, but if you do have that connector website, I'll put that there too. Thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.